we get to work with all the statewide people, the lobbyists that we talk to every day, the people from Montana that we get to hear from every day, and they all have opinion how we should vote. But it's really been a surreal experience for me. And I didn't, you know, I'm still kind of a cowboy. I didn't really know what that word surreal meant. I had to look it up in the dictionary, but my wife told me I should use it. So anyway, it's been a real experience for me. And then what a staff we have. I mean, all the people that baby us and pamper us and smile at us. It's been a quite an experience for me. Beth and I both grew up in. I better tell a joke here pretty soon, but anyway, we grew up in a pretty modest households. We had a lot, or we didn't have a lot, but we had what we needed, and we had lots of love. My life was pretty simple. We worked a lot. We were involved in our church. I better tell a couple sayings that my dad told me. One of them was, I'll get to going here in a minute. One of them was, I'm going to double your pay every year. That's when we were little. It took me just 3 or 4 years to figure out that 2 times 0 was still 0. And, you know, but that was kind of the mindset of us. That was what was important. Another saying that he said is, we're going to get 12 hours. We're going to get a half a day off today, 12 hours. And you know, we didn't always get a half a day off. We worked some more, you know, and I had a hard time figuring that out too. But when you divide 24 by 2, it is 12. and so anyway, I was, like I say, I was involved in. I rode the school bus every day. It was 5 miles to town. We lived on a ranch and farm, and so, you know, that was something that was maybe a little simpler than it is today. There was 9 of us kids. We had 1 bathroom. We took a bath on Wednesdays and Saturdays, even if we didn't need it, but. That's just how simple things were when we grew up. I went to a small school in Turner, Montana, and it's north of the Highway 2, on just not very far from the Canadian line, kind of out in the boonies. You know, they call it the Big Flat out there, and so we had 180 kids in our school, the whole school, from kindergarten till we didn't have kindergarten, from first grade till the time we was seniors. I graduated from the biggest graduating class in the school, which was 18, and it's still the biggest class they've ever had there. So I mean that's a modest deal that we grew up with. And so when you change that to being here and being with you know, some of the greatest people in Montana, it was a little bit surreal again for me to handle all that. But and I reflect on that quite often. I guess I'd like to thank some people. You know, one of them is my wife, of course. She's been here a lot. You see her. She knows more people around here than I do. And the other day we were walking down the hall, and and she was stopped and talked to somebody, and she said, we'll be married 47 years this summer in July. And I thought, she's kind of proud of that. She said, 40, it feels like 47 seconds. Then she leaned over and told the lady, underwater. And I don't really, know what that meant, but it probably wasn't that good. But anyway, like I said, I don't know how to turn on a computer, so it's been almost essential to have her here. We talk about a lot of stuff, and we're business partners, and we just everything we do, we talk about it. So anyway, I don't know what I said all that stuff for, but I guess it's just what this is all about. The other people I need to thank is my family. My daughters were great as I've been here. They helped me in my campaigns. They helped me. They just talked a lot, and we reflected a lot about a lot of things. My sons are on the ranch, or I couldn't be here. And probably the biggest help are my grandkids. It's always fun to see their perspective, and some of them don't have much of a perspective, but they just it's fun to hold them and do things with them. But so I guess that just and Senator Lang's calling me over here. I'm not sure what for, but anyway, it's good. It's good that he is, and because he's always he represents the district of where I lived up in Turner, and I've always admired Senator Lang, and thanks for reminding me of that, Senator Lang. So anyway, where was I at now? I can't remember. So the other people that I would like to thank are my siblings helped me, and my constituents, the constituents of Webull, Dawson, and Richland counties. They're great people, some of the greatest people in Montana, and I appreciate them a lot. Anyway, 7.5 years ago, this is where my speech is supposed to start, but 7.5 years ago when my state senator come to me and said, you have to run for the state senate because I'm going to change careers. He's now Congressman Rosendale, and so I said, well, man, I got to think about it for a little bit. And he said, well, you got a couple days. So we talked with my family a lot. We talked about what we wanted to do. We had been involved for a long time with the policies and government and the Republican Party. I actually had my first coffee when I was for a candidate when I was in 1977. That was before a lot of you guys were born. But and so I knew what I wanted America to look like. So I thought about it a lot, and I, like I said, we were involved a lot. Beth was president or vice chairman of the state Republican Women. I'd been on the executive board. We went to our first governor ball was Stan Stevens, and when he was elected to governor, that was in 1989, and so I knew what I wanted government to look like, and freedom was probably a big word that come to my mind a lot, and I know that there's lots of words that we use that maybe we use loosely. One of them might be freedom, and when you look in the dictionary and look at freedom, you understand that it's something that doesn't restrain you, something that allows you to do what you want, and so that's the big thing that I wanted to have. And by the way, I'm happy to be a proud member of the Freedom Caucus, and I still am and always will be. I think that's important to me. And so I would just like to read a couple things that talk about freedom. One of them is from the scriptures, and I'm not going to preach a sermon here, but I'm going to read a scripture that I think that has been a big deal for me in this whole thing. It's 1 Timothy chapter 2, the first 4 verses. It says, "First of all, then, I urge that entreaties and prayers, petitions and thanksgivings be made on behalf of all men, for kings and all who are in authority, so that we may lead a tranquil and quiet life, freedom, in all goodness and dignity. This is good and acceptable in the sight of God our Savior, who desires all men to come to the knowledge of the truth." Freedom so people can come to the knowledge of the truth. I think that's probably the core of my principles. And shoot, I understand. I never voted right all the time. I tried to, but it was hard to do. The senator in the front row talked me into voting for a $300 million mental health bill, and I voted for it once, and I haven't voted for it since. But I understand. I voted for House Bill 2 a couple times. That's certainly not right as far as it looks like to me. So I would say that I certainly haven't voted right, and I'm the first one that will tell you that. But I would like to just tell you a couple. History is important to me, and there's some people that talked about freedom in some quotes. One of them is Benjamin Franklin, and he didn't necessarily use the word freedom in this quote, but he said, "Those who give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty or safety." There's a lot in that. We give up a little bit that we think we need to have one day just for a bunch of freedom. That's not a good deal. And Reagan, I use him quite a bit. He says, "Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same." I think, that tells a lot. Probably the one that I've used a lot in my thoughts is one that George Washington said: "Freedom and property rights are inseparable. You can't have one without the other." I think that says a lot. Thomas Jefferson said, "I prefer dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery." There's a lot in these quotes. Anyway, when Rosendale asked me to do that, I took a little long to decide. I talked it over with my family, and by that time there was 2 people in the primary already. So I had a 3-way primary to start with. And so I always say that when I'm a little bit like an NFL quarterback that in recent years it would lay on the field and cry and whine and scream if he lost, and so I couldn't lose, because I didn't want to cry and whine in the middle of the field. So I worked hard to win that thing. I walked in, and I had a little bit of competition. The Conservative Solutions Caucus of the Republican Party campaigned against me. Both Farm Bureau and stock growers campaigned against me. My opponent owned a business in both Glendive and in Sydney, which are the biggest towns in my district. My opponent also was the mayor of Sydney. So I had to work hard to get it done. But the thing come to this point, the thing that I done that was the best thing that I could have done, and it taught me a big lesson, is that we was at a forum one day, and my 2 opponents were able to talk first, and they were telling everybody what they were going to do for them, what they were going to give them. they were going to build this and build that and give them money for this. And I got up and said, all I said was, if you guys want more government, vote for these guys. If you want less government, vote for me. And the reporter was kind of a snot-nosed reporter, not like the ones we have back here. They're good ones. But he was going to prove to me that was a wrong statement. So he put it in every paper that he had. And that was the best thing that ever happened, because people don't want government to take care of them. People don't want government to be their boss. And you're going to hear some noise from, and this is for you guys that are going to be here for a while, you're going to hear noise from people saying, you need to do this because your people want it, because there's going to be a few loud ones. But let me tell you, people don't want government telling them what to do. In fact, another quote from Reagan is, if more government is the answer, that was a really stupid question. And I think that's really how we need to handle this. Government isn't the answer to what we need to do. If you need to give something to people, the best thing you can give is freedom. The second thing, and Senator Ellsworth, or President Ellsworth, said I could talk as long as I wanted, but he said we have till tonight, and I'm about done. But the second thing that was eye-opening to me was when we had a bonding bill here. I think that was my first session, and it had a lot of money for Richland, Dawson, and Weevil counties, and everybody from lobbyists to even some conservatives, from all kinds of people, not all kinds of people, a few people back home said, you vote for this, you don't vote for this, and you're toast. Don't listen to them, guys, because people want freedom. I didn't vote for it. They spent a lot of money trying to beat me the second time, and they got 28% of the vote. I didn't spend any. So what I'm saying is people want freedom. Don't listen to the rhetoric about what they want and what they don't want. The third experience that I had that I would like to tell you about, I think it was my second session that I was standing in the hall, and I like to talk to people, whoever's there. I like to go introduce myself to them. And this lady said, we have this great program. I don't even remember what it was. We need to fund it. And so I thought about it. I was there with her for a minute, and I said, well, the government don't produce money, and they don't have money. Who should we steal it from? And she didn't know what to say. She was dumbfounded. But that's what we do every day. Every time we have a program here that somebody wants or somebody think they need, we steal it from somebody to give it to them. I think that's a perspective we need to look at, because we're taking it for somebody. I don't care if it's somebody thinks it's rich or somebody that's worked hard and has a few things. But if we steal it from them, then give it to somebody else. That's not how it should be. So, and I guess, that's what I would like to leave with everybody. And I don't know if like I say, I haven't voted right here all the time, but that's always been my thoughts when I go to push the button. Sometimes I got red button, and I've been called the Senator No a few times. In fact, my opponent last time wrote to me at the end of the session last year, there was about 2 weeks left, and he said, does your yes button work? And I said, well, I don't know, I'm going to have it looked at during the interim, but I don't think I'll need it the rest of the year. So he was a little offended by that, but that's, basically my thought is if you don't understand the bill, maybe you should vote no, and I'm pretty stupid, so I vote no a lot. So, but anyway, I appreciate, when I reflect back when I came here, I was pretty rookie-ish. Senator Bladesdell was my president of the caucus that year, and I appreciate him a lot. Fred Thomas was the majority leader, and I appreciated them. They helped me a lot. Senator Bladesdale became the president, and after that, and he done well. And I was really good friends with Senator Smith, and Senator Ellsworth has been a good friend of mine, and also Senator Fitzpatrick's been our majority leader, and I appreciate you all you've helped me with. One person that's helped me a lot is Senator Regier, being chairman of the Judiciary. I seen him every morning, and he had to put up with me once in a while, and had to even bat me down once in a while. But he, I just appreciate all you guys, and thank you for what you've done.
Senator Heimbaugh, thank you for your service.